Hello, interns. I hope that you're having a wonderful start to the fall term. As promised, I'm bringing you the weekly video for week 3. If you're watching this before Labor Day, I hope that you are having a fantastic Labor Day 3-day weekend. You certainly deserve it. If you are watching this after Labor Day, I hope that you had a wonderful 3-day weekend, again, because you certainly deserve it. Here at William Carey, we try to push you to be the best and most successful teacher that you can be. But I also want to take a minute to stop and remind you that it is okay for you to take time off. It is okay for you to take these 3-day weekends, turn off your emails, unplug from social media, and just enjoy your family, enjoy your pets, enjoy your quiet time. It is certainly something that you can do for your students, for yourself, and for your families. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes you have to stop and you have to remember all the things that it takes to fill your cup and remind yourself that our time is fleeting and we need to do as much as we can to enjoy our days. The purpose of these weekly videos is to talk about the assignments that are coming up this week. At the first seminar, it was such a pleasure to meet each of you, and we really talked about all of the assignments for the entire fall term and even some of them for the winter term. I know it probably felt a little bit overwhelming to be looking up at that mountain and getting all of that information at the same time. So what we're going to do is teach you a strategy that you can use to be successful throughout your life and all of your endeavors, but also a strategy that you can teach your students so that if they feel overwhelmed with large tasks, they can learn to do this and to feel a little bit better. That strategy is to take things 1 week at a time, one assignment at a time. When you look back at how quickly this internship is going to fly by and all that you're going to accomplish throughout these 2 trimesters here at Carey, you will be amazed at how much you actually accomplished. Again, anytime something seems a little overwhelming, take a step back, take it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, and 1 assignment at a time. In this week 3 coming up, we have weekly reflection number 2, textbook assignment number 2, a Prezi certificate training, a practice TIAI lesson plan, and we're going to be writing a classroom description. We thoroughly enjoyed reading all of your weekly reflections last week. In a true student teaching experience, an intern or student teacher goes into a classroom and has a host teacher or a cooperating teacher there with them the whole time. As interns, you might feel sometimes that you've been thrown into the deep end and that you're in that classroom alone, and the weekly reflection is our chance to get to be there with you. We enjoy reading those weekly reflections so that we can see the information that you celebrated, we can help you with any challenges that you have, but also so that you can grow reflectively, so that you can look at what you've accomplished and what your challenges are. I encourage you to not just treat the weekly reflection as a quick assignment that you have to get out of the way, but as an assignment that's actually going to help you grow as a teacher. Even after you've completed the internship and after you have been teaching for several years, you might want to continue the practice of reflecting weekly on what you did, what you accomplished, what you could do better. After 24 years in education, I can certainly tell you that this practice is something that will help you be successful. I want you to use the rubric in the same set of questions from week 1. Those questions in that rubric will repeat throughout the entire internship into intern 2 in the winter. Again, I want you to strive to push yourself to find a resolution to the challenges that you had last week. So you might have written something about a challenge that you had with a particular student or with a parent or even just improving your test scores. So this week, I want to hear where you left off last week. It's okay if you include new challenges. It's okay if you tell us about new things that have come up, but also go back and tell me what happened last week to that challenge that we discussed. Remember in item number 1 to always include the standards and objectives that you have each week. We understand some weeks are shorter than others. We understand that sometimes you're reviewing or getting ready for a test. Either way, there should always be a standard or an objective tied to what you're doing, what you're teaching. If you're at a private school or a school that doesn't use the state standards, we also understand that, but we want to know where you are getting your standards. If your PLCs or your departments are creating lessons and schedules and you're following the same standards, that's okay. We understand that too. Just describe that in your reflection. In item 2 of the reflection, remember to include numerical data. And this could be from an informal formative assessment. It could be your formal test. It could be a quiz. It doesn't matter to us, but explain to us how you collected this data. Was it from an exit ticket? Was it from a game that you played, maybe a Kahoot game or a Jeopardy game? If you've been in one of my classroom management classes, you know that we have collected lots of different things that we can do as informal formative assessments to collect data. Again, don't just copy and paste those responses from week to week. We want to know how you're doing and we want to be able to help you, but we don't know that if you don't tell us. So don't be afraid to tell us about something that might not be successful. For instance, if you teach something and your students don't do well, we're not grading you for that. We just want to know how we can help you and what happened. Again, this assignment is really not for us as much as it is for you. So we hope that you feel that way also. The second question of that weekly reflection is the data analysis portion. Whenever we meet with our stakeholders at the end of the year, we ask them what are some things that we can do to help our students be better prepared for the classroom. The administrators have recently replied that they want us to prepare you to analyze data in a more efficient manner. We want you to feel that you have the power to collect the data from either the formative or summative assessments that you give your students and know what to do with it. So in your data reflection on item number 2 in your weekly reflection, you don't have to just list how many students made a certain score on the test. You don't have to just summarize it. You can actually get creative with it. Some people might want to make a chart, sort of like the one pictured here. You might want to make a pie chart. You can put that data easily into an Excel spreadsheet, go into Google Sheets, and you can quickly turn that into a beautiful chart. It will do it for you. If you have any questions about how to do that, there might be a person at your school district who can help you, or of course, we're happy to help you with that as well. The second assignment that you have this week is textbook assignment number 2. You're probably asking yourself, why didn't she give us specific questions to answer throughout these chapters? I want to remind you that most of you use this book in Classroom Management EDU 536. If you're a transfer student, you might not have used it at your school where you took classroom management. But for us here at Cary, this is actually just a refresher. In case it's been several trimesters since you've seen this book, we want you to go back and review some of the chapters that we left off with in classroom management so that we can pick up when we're ready to start in the next few weeks. So in this particular assignment, instead of reading the chapter and writing summaries like we did last week, this week you get to pick 20 aha moments. Those are those things when you're reading the chapter and you say, oh, this is very, very important. I should write this down. So you get 20 points for this assignment, and we're looking for 20 facts from the chapters. Again, you could easily fly through this assignment picking the first 20 facts that you found in these chapters, or you could dig into the chapters, read it, and use it as the assignment that it is to help you find a refresher in classroom management. This particular textbook and these chapters are all about setting that tone for the beginning of the year. And you know that your lesson plans and your data, all of that comes back to the classroom management that you are using in your classroom. Another feature in this textbook that I want to point out is the last page of each chapter where it says, who will I teach? And I want you to remember that there are lots of different types of students in your classroom who learn in different ways. And that's going to set us up for one of the other assignments that we have this week as well. It is always important to complete your sentences, to write and complete sentences, to put your name on your work, to double space. And for this particular assignment, there is no title page necessary. Grammar always counts, and we're always checking for plagiarism. At this point, you've probably heard the term TIAI several times. Remember, this is the Teacher Intern Assessment Instrument that is provided for us as a common document from the State Department. This is the rubric that we use when we come to your classroom to observe you teaching. This is the same rubric that your mentor teacher will be using as well. For our students in the undergraduate traditional program, they use the same rubric during student teaching, so we're all on the same page as to the 25 indicators that are required for us to assess you and your ability to teach. We are going to be talking in depth about the TIAI, how to write a lesson plan, and how to go through that observation successfully in our second seminar. So if you don't quite understand it, hold out until that seminar where you will get some more in-depth training. To start with, this Prezi training is really a set of slides in a slideshow that you go through and you answer some questions at the end, save your certificate, and upload your certificate here. This is the training that is provided to you by the State Department, and this again is one of the State Department requirements. Speaking of the TIAI, you have learned already that that is the rubric we will use to evaluate you when we come to watch you teach your lesson. Your mentor teacher will also be using that TIAI. If you haven't yet gone to Canvas and found the TIAI rubric and the explained expanded version, please do that before you write your lesson plan. We realize that the purpose of this lesson is to teach you to write a TIAI lesson plan, not a lesson plan that you might already be submitting for your school districts. We don't expect this to take the place of your regular lesson plans. We understand that your school district might want lesson plans in a specific format, and that this is not the same. I'm sure that you agree that you would not want anyone coming to your classroom to observe you teaching if you didn't have a chance to explain what you were teaching and point us in the direction of some of the things that you want us to notice. There are 25 different indicators on the TIAI, so we want you to write a lesson plan that explains each of the 25 things that you're going to be showing to us. Before we come to observe you, we expect for you to give us the actual lesson plan that you are going to use when we come to your classroom. But to get you ready for that, we're going to just practice writing a TIAI lesson plan. If you want to think ahead and you already know the date that we are scheduled to observe you, you can go ahead and use the exact objectives and the lesson that you plan to teach. However, if you haven't decided yet on what lesson you are going to be teaching, you can just choose any lesson. It could be a lesson that's already in your lineup for this week, or it could be a hypothetical lesson that you use for the purpose of practicing. Please use the template that is provided and expect a lot of feedback from your supervisor. We want you to be more successful with that actual observation, and that starts with having a well-written lesson plan that we will discuss with you. So let us help you practice writing lesson plans in that format. Again, I want to reiterate that we understand your school district does not require lesson plans in this format. This is something that we require here at William Carey, and that the State Department requires for your rubric. So if you have any questions writing this, reach out to your supervisor. He or she is well trained on how to help you write this lesson plan. And this is really just like a rough draft. So don't feel nervous about writing the lesson plan. Just allow us to have an opportunity to help you with it with this practice lesson plan this week. Throughout all of our courses here at William Carey, we talked about the importance of building relationships and getting to know your students. If we don't do an assessment of the types of students and the types of learning needs that we have in our classroom, how can we get to know them, and how can we create lessons and assessments for them? The purpose of this assignment is to help you dig a little bit deeper to get to know your students. It's very possible that you did this already, and we just now need to see this information. If you haven't gotten to know your students or this information yet, let's get started with this now. Remember, there are 15 questions for you in Canvas. Just answer each question and you get 1 point for answering that question thoroughly. Of course, always include your name, always double space. There's no title page or APA citations needed for this. Your supervisor will ask you to be very thorough and very specific. Grammar always counts. Plagiarism always counts. Well, that's all of the assignments for week 3. I hope that you understand all of them clearly. If not, you can reach out to me or to your supervisor. As we're looking ahead, remember to go ahead and schedule that first observation with your supervisor if you have not already. And then save that date. Seminar number 2 is on September 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. This information was on the registration form when you signed up. It is also in the syllabus. The link is already in Canvas. If you click on seminar number 2, the link is there ready for you to join. It will be in Microsoft Teams, just like it was before, so plan to download the Microsoft Teams app if you haven't done so already. That seminar will be a chance for us to explain the TIAI, how to write that lesson plan, and have a successful observation. And we will also start talking about our upcoming assignment called Impact on Student Learning. You should also be meeting with your mentor teacher weekly. On September 2nd, we have a training session for our mentor teachers to learn how to mentor you and how to accomplish all the requirements that we have given your mentor teacher. If your mentor teacher didn't or wasn't able to attend the training seminar on September 2nd, remind them to watch the video that was recorded. It will be sent out to all of those mentor teachers as well. If you have not yet given your mentor teacher the letter that is in Canvas, it is on the top module, the 3rd item down. Please make sure to give that mentor letter to your mentor teacher no later than the 10th of September. After that, it will be too late for a mentor to get CEUs. And remember, you're graded as well for the information that your mentor teacher is going to submit. And we have just a few more reminders coming up. September 16th is that virtual meeting that I told you about. The 17th is a video assignment that is due. So I don't want this to catch you off guard if you're working on Sunday nights at the last minute trying to do those assignments. The video assignment will require you to video a lesson ahead of time and to evaluate or assess your own teaching using the TIAI rubric. So if you want to go ahead and start making that video or start working on that, at least be thinking about when in the week ahead you might want to go ahead and video. September 20th is when we will start those observations. Reach out to your supervisor to schedule it. And then I just want you to be thinking about how quickly trimesters end here at Cary. November 1st is the end of the fall trimester. Remember, we have trimesters here at Cary instead of semesters. Our trimesters are only 10 weeks long. And that is another reason why we don't accept late work, because it is so easy to get behind and then not get caught up with as quickly as these semesters go by. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. Be on the lookout each morning, the first day of the week, for my weekly videos, which will help you get through the week. Have a great week, everybody.